episode 7 of the G3X Podcast with our special guest was Veronica, and super fun episode. She talked about her bodybuilding journey, some unforeseen circumstances that happened to her during her prep, which was crazy, as well as just some fun stories about gym, about traveling, and some other cool stuff. So you're definitely in tune for a fun episode. Welcome everyone to the G3X Podcast. This is episode 7. We have a special guest here, Veronica, where we have some amazing stories to talk about from bodybuilding, fitness, traveling, and so much more. Super excited. So I hope you guys are also excited as well. And Veronica, how are you feeling today? Thank you so much for being here.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me.
Definitely, not for sure. So to the audience out there, with Veronica, I met her through social media, through a group chat that we were on, that we're in like a fitness, and that's how I met her. First time actually that we're talking like that in person. Everything's been through social, but it's been super cool because seeing her like content and everything she posts, from her bodybuilding journey and fitness journey and transformation and everything. So I know there's a lot of value that her story can inspire other people, both women in fitness and people in fitness in general. So I know you guys are going to have a blast. But Veronica, to the audience who isn't aware of who you are, give yourself a little introduction, who you are, where you're from, what you do, and we take it from there.
Hey everyone. I'm Veronica. Originally from Czech Republic, from Europe, but I've been traveling a lot. So the past 2 years I was in America. I was literally in Tampa Bay area. So when I found out that you are in Miami, that was kind of crazy. But
So
now I
cool.
live in New Zealand. So I took it way out there and moved to a different side of world. Yeah. I do bodybuilding. I did my first competition last year, and so now I'm enjoying the off season as well as just traveling, enjoying life, balancing everything. And yeah, I'm just living life.
Awesome. No, love it. And yeah, I know there's some cool stuff there with the whole bodybuilding. But before getting into that, what really caught my eye was the traveling aspect, right? And my school that I went to in college, it was mostly everyone was international. Like basically no one was from the US. So I had
Cool.
a lot of friends from Europe and like basically everywhere except the US. And a lot of them were Europeans, right? From all over Europe. And that's
Hmm.
one of the things I always noticed, at least from my opinion, from the Europeans, all the classmates, etc., that they have a big tendency of traveling a lot. Like they're just all over, like, and they just like from one country to like a whole other part of the world. I'm like, how do you guys have the, let's say, courage or like to do it? Because for me myself, sometimes I kind of like I would like to move, but So let me ask you,
Yeah.
how was that whole transition? Let's say originally from like Czech Republic, then Florida, then New Zealand. Like halfway, like for example, for the audience who doesn't know, it's an 18-hour time difference for me and her.
Yeah.
So she's like in tomorrow. I'm still
I'm
like
in the
in the day
future.
before. Yeah, literally. So how did that originate? How did that happen?
Honestly, I think I was raised into like traveling, and just my mom always encouraged me to like, hey, there's something else for you to see, because Czech Republic is a small little country, right? The central of Europe. So we have no ocean, no sea, like literally just mountains, lakes, and ponds, which don't get me wrong, amazing, beautiful, but there's something else, something more to see and to grow. And yeah, so I always wanted to travel. In Europe, it's kind of easier to travel like through the European countries, because you just hop on the train or bus, and you're in a different country. So that's kind of what I did as well in the States. Because traveling through States, it's kind of like traveling through Europe, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, you don't have countries, you just have states. So yeah, while I was in the US, I took this mindset and I traveled across the US basically as well. So yeah, I was usually like bored, looked up the flights, and then I was like, oh, flight to Indianapolis this Friday. Yeah, what's in the Indianapolis? I have no idea, but I went. It was cool. Another state to
Nice.
check. Was there something? Not really. Yeah, would not recommend. But yeah, that's how I travel.
Nice. It's just kind of that adventurous, like, hey, let's just
Yeah,
figure it out. Kind of like figure it out as we go, in a sense, then, right?
exactly. Spontaneous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. No, that's cool because I think ultimately, especially when it comes to traveling, I think that's kind of having that, in a sense, you're not tied down. You kind of have that free world spirit, which I think
Yeah.
definitely can lead to other aspects in life where let's say business or entrepreneurship, or in your own, let's say, life ventures, where you're
Hmm.
not tying yourself down to a specific, let's say, construct, like, oh no, I'm already doing this. You're
Yeah.
willing to get out of your comfort zone, you're willing to like try new things, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Like, for example, to the audience here, getting into the podcast, I know Veronica was telling me she was a little nervous, and like here she are now, same thing, following, putting literally her words where what she's saying into action, like putting
Yeah.
herself out there, getting herself into an uncomfortable situation, let's say, and getting comfortable with it. How would you say then, over time, then, let's say, when it came to traveling though, what was one of some like crazy experiences in those travel, let's say from Florida to New Zealand, or anything of that sort, like, or like some experience that would like maybe give you an impact, like, oh wow.
Honestly, everything, like every one of my traveling gave me an impact in some way. If it's, I don't know, the mentality of the people, the nature, or yeah, just overall the culture. Like if you're talking about like the US, Europe, and like here, the culture is way different, and I love to get to know the culture through food because that's the best way to get to know the country through. And yeah, but honestly, I have never planned to like move here, to move to New Zealand, because I wanted to stay in the US, but God's plan is different, I guess, and he had a different plan for me. So yeah, I ended up exactly in the middle of my prep in Europe, and all my competition, everything is back in the US. I was fucked. But you know what? I didn't want to throw it out the window, the months of prep. So yeah, I just stick to it, got a new show, still did it. And then I was like, well, I don't feel like this is my place where I want to be, like Czech Republic at that point. So I was like, well, where else can I go? I was like, Australia, New Zealand. Then I'm like, yeah, New Zealand, because we here you don't have any like poisonous snakes, spiders, nothing of that sort. So I was like,
I like Australia.
I was like, that's my pick for now. So yeah, and I'm gonna be here for a year, maybe longer. We'll see.
And then figure it out as you go. I love
Exactly.
that. I love that. That's so cool. That's
I
so
don't
cool.
like to plan like further in the future other than like a year. Because like what? I don't know what's gonna be in
Yeah,
a
so
year.
much can happen in a year. So yeah,
Exactly.
sure, that's fair. That's fair. Now, let's say though, ultimately, for me, I think, and the last question before getting into the fitness, because that's another aspect that is super interesting. Did you ever find yourself like nervous, or like scared, or like worried or stressed out, and how did you handle that? Other people that maybe in same that identify with you, that maybe have to travel a lot, old connections you made, losing those like, how did you manage that? And any advice you have for others out there going through similar situations?
I don't think I still figured out a way how to like cooperate with that because it's hard. It's always gonna be hard, like leaving your family, saying the goodbyes, or I mean, you know that you can always come back. That's what I tell myself. Like here I moved all by myself. I mean, here I moved with my best friend. So it's not like, you're all by yourself. But to America, I moved by myself. I was literally sitting on the plane and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what? What? But then I was like, well, I can always buy the ticket and come back home. Like, you always have the home where you can come back to. So if something goes wrong, like, let's say you get sick, whatever, you have always a way. Okay, it's gonna be way more expensive, but it's just money, right? At the end of the day. So yeah, but in the US, I was an au pair. I don't know if you know what that means. It's a live-in nanny. So I moved there to a family of strangers. I have never met them face to face, and I was
Oh, wow.
just living in their little house and taking care of their kid. That was my life. And then after the 2 years, I'm like, yeah, I need to change. Like, I love to work with people, but being around kids all the time, and that it's not like it was hard to separate the life and the work because it's a kid,
Mm.
right? So he was like, well, Saturday morning, I had the weekends off, and he was like, well, can we play? And I was like, like, yeah, but also like, no, you know what I mean?
I got you.
But
And
it's so
I already
hard.
dealt with you Monday through Fridays. Give me my time.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm just walking through the living room. I'm just gonna get something to eat. Don't talk to me. But yeah, I mean, I love them to death, so wouldn't change anything.
Nice. There you go. No, that's a very cool experience. Yeah, because ultimately, I like how you said that. And ultimately, that thing that you said, you could always go back. And I want to connect that to the audience to that applies same thing in so many aspects. Let's say, you
Actually.
say going to a new country. If it doesn't work out, hey, you always have the option to come back in some way, right?
Yeah.
A new job, a new business, a new gig, whatever that. Same thing. Sometimes people are scared to try it and like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
maybe scared of failing, scared of it not working out or whatever the case may be. But, at least you said you did it. If it didn't work out, okay, who cares? Honestly, you learned from it, but at least you don't have that regret. I think that's always super important. You don't have that regret like, oh, what if, right? And I think you could say that for yourself that all the things you've done, at least whatever has happened, at least you tell me and not to put words in your mouth, but maybe you could say like, oh yeah, I don't have that regret, or how would you reflect
Yeah,
on
no,
that?
I never had the regret, but I would also say that don't give up right away, right? Like give it a try, give it few weeks, whatever that is. Like with the new job, yeah, it gets frustrating, at some point you're like, yeah, I don't really want to do it, but the money is good, whatever. Like, yeah, once you get like, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months of the salary that is good, you can then go and move on. And
Mm-hmm.
even like trying something new, and while you're trying it, you kind of figure out that it's not for you. It's okay to just, you know, go and do something else. For me, I tried that with, I mean, I did that with online coaching. I love to help other people and stuff like that, but also I love to do any plenty of other things. So then I was like, well, I can't have it at this moment as my full time because I just don't have the energy to put everything else out there. But yeah, so I kind of paused that and like doing it just for funsies with my friends. But in the future, I definitely want to go back to it and like put all I have into that and really grow my business because honestly, that's the best life to live. Like I would be traveling and having online coaching. Excuse me, like that's beautiful. So yeah, just keep trying, I would say.
Yeah, I think it definitely teaches a little bit of some tenacity. Like you said, don't give up. Go through it because ultimately, any change is hard,
It's
of
a good
course, right?
and it's a good
But
change.
exactly, exactly. Any change is hard, but you push through it, and then something's good going to come out of it ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And that good, let's say, might how would I say it? In my opinion, from my own experience, that good might not always be a good outcome, but the experience you get from it actually turns out to be something good later down in life, if that makes sense. Either
Exactly.
like,
The good is gonna get better, but in
mhm.
a different way.
Exactly, exactly. No, I love that. That's awesome. Now, let me ask you here, Veronica. Okay, now connecting that with now, let's say into your fitness journey. Like, talk to
Mm-hmm.
me about that. From what I've seen through socials, a very interesting story. And you kind of mentioned that. Okay, like your bodybuilding competition that you did. It was like an 8 month prep. So talk to me. That was the part that was like, wait. So like, were you partially in Europe and then partially here? Like, how was that whole training scenario and everything? Talk to me. How did what got you started and how did that whole? Talk to me about that story.
Okay, so it was a shit show, okay? Like now going back and like I'm like I'm so proud of myself that really did that. But yeah, so when I started with like the fitness, lifestyle, wellness, it was before quarantine. I got to like, the 10-minute ab workouts. I wanted to be as lean as possible. And then COVID hit. And suddenly I didn't have my treadmill to be. I have never run, but I was doing like the 12 3:30 situations. And I was like, oh, what can I do now? So then I found this 10-week challenge. I don't know if you know her. Her name is Carolyn Girvan, I would say. You say that her name? She is shredded. She's like, a muscle mommy. She has like two
Oh
kids, I
shoot.
believe, as well. And I was like, holy shit, like I don't want to look like that girl, but I want to be strong like that girl.
Nice.
And yeah, so I did the 10 weeks. It was a lot of burpees. It was, yeah, just burpees
Oh
basically.
man, that's brutal.
That's what I remember. And yeah, after the 10 weeks, like there were some weights and I love to see the progress of like, you know what? Last week I did the shoulder presses with, I don't know, 5 pounds for 10. And this week, and it was heavy. And this week I did shoulder presses with 5 pounds for 20 and it was easy. You know what? And like seeing the progress but not really realizing it, it's it that's what like get me excited. So then the gyms opened up and I was like, oh, okay, let's like try it. It was
So
so
not to cut you
scary.
off. So during that initial part, you were doing like home workouts in a
Yeah,
sense,
yeah,
then,
yeah.
right?
Because the
Okay,
gyms
okay,
were closed. The gyms were
okay,
closed.
gotcha.
So all I had was just a little dumbbells, right? And I was like, well, I know that this period, this quarantine is gonna stop eventually. Well, I was hoping for it. And so I was like, I don't want to like buy more equipment because I know that I'm going to go to the gym. So then it opened up and I went to the gym and it was so scary because I haven't used these machines before, you know, like anything. I was used to just a treadmill or a bike. And yeah, so I started to, you know, Google on TikTok or talk to um, the people that were there and trying to just see what's up. I didn't have any coach. I was just doing my thing and didn't really have the goal of like, you know, I want to look like this. I want to have this body weight or whatever. I It just came naturally. And then seeing the progress again with the weight, the reps, had how I was feeling. Remind you, I still was eating shit. Eating shit meaning I wasn't really eating. Because, you know, it was just
Oh,
like a protein shake and then I was like, oh yeah, but I went to work out so I don't really, yeah, it was a little body dysmorphia right there. So yeah, but I was happy. You know what? I was doing my thing and didn't really put the pressure on me to be looking certain way. So
you were just kind of
yeah.
like doing it at your own pace, your own style. Okay,
Exactly. Just for fun, right? If you say doing gym for a lifestyle, that's what I was doing. Not really, you know, counting any calories. At that point, I didn't even know how you do that, like protein, carb, fat.
yeah.
Didn't have a clue. Um, it's crazy now, like going back and thinking about it, like
Yes, I know what you
I was a
mean,
little
right?
girl.
How did we do
Yeah,
that?
right? And yeah, so then I moved to the US. And that's where it all started. Because y'all gym and the gym community is crazy. Like I didn't ever had this experience, and I was like, I remember after my first gym session at like Crunch, and I was calling my friend. I was like, holy shit, I was at the gym. Like, you know when you see them on TikTok, the gyms, I was there. Like it's crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and then like even um, you get like you make friends really easily if you go at the same time and you know like you are friendly, you're not just like I don't want to talk to
Yeah,
anyone. So yeah, I made some friends and they were like, yeah, I compete. And I was like, holy shit, like I could never. Because like you're watching all that food, you're, you know, I was like, yeah, I could never. I just do it for fun. And then yeah, one of my friends was like, "Oh, I got a coach. Like a lifestyle coach. It was cheap. He had like a trial at that point for like 3 months, and I was like, oh, I might try it. Like, why not give it a shot, right? Like, I've been doing this for a few years now, so let's see. Let's have a goal this time and try how I'm gonna be feeling. But I wasn't forcing myself, so yeah, I did that. That's where I was like seeing the body change. And it wasn't like any restricted, like really on point meal plan. It was more like a suggestions. And yeah, I was like, oh, I'm having fun. Like my skin cleared, like whatever, right? And yeah, then I was like, well, I might compete maybe someday, but who
Nice.
knows? Like, I'm still doing it. Yeah. Then I was just doing my thing, still doing it for lifestyle, and just switched some coaches because something happened, whatever. And now I'm with my team that is like, I can't talk highly enough of them. They're amazing. It's still crazy because they're still in America.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little hard to communicate, but we're still making it work and everything. And yeah, with them, I competed, and it was a crazy journey. Literally a year ago, the beginning of January last year, I started my prep, thinking that I'm gonna be on stage by, I think it was June 30th. Well, it didn't happen. I was on stage August 30th, but I still was on
You still
stage.
got on stage.
Exactly.
Nice. Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. So and now and talk to me. Okay, so that and then talk to me then during those 8 months. How was that? Because I mean, no, that's like way more. Now that you're prepping, I mean, now it's super strict from what I've heard. I've never
Oh yeah.
competed. I've thought about it, but I know I have a lot of friends who have competed, and that's the main thing I hear. Get now. Okay, you're competing now. It's super restrictive diet tracking. Like, how was that then? From let's say maybe the week before you started, where maybe you really weren't tracking. I'm just guessing, like maybe really weren't tracking, right? To like, okay, I'm actually gonna compete starting this week onwards. Is like strict, or how was that?
So because my coach knows me really well, he knew that if you tell me, okay, you're gonna be on this prep for this many weeks, I would stress myself out. And
Mm,
if you have to know something about like prep and bodybuilding, you can't be stressed because then your body like reflects it right away.
I've heard that, yeah.
So yeah, so I didn't know like how long the prep is gonna be. I knew that like we were aiming kind of for the June, but it was more like let's see how the body is gonna look like and then we go from there. So I started the prep, like excited, like oh my God, because my food was still high, my cardio was barely there. So I was like, okay, I'm loving this
Easy.
prep. Exactly, like give me more. And I was like excited for the food to go low because I was like, you know what? I want to see how the body's gonna react, how I'm gonna be feeling, like handling the work, prep, everything. And it was cool until it wasn't. It was cool until my visa got denied. I literally had to, honestly, I remember the day to this day, and I think it's gonna be till the day I die, because I feel like everything just was for nothing, right? Because I, okay, so my plan was that I was accepted for college in the US. I was pre-approved for my student visa, so I went for 2 weeks back to Czech, and just to get my visa, say my byes and go back again. So I went to Czech for with my carry-on, and yeah, I never got back because my visa got denied, and yeah, so I had to start over. I literally called my coach, bawling my eyes out. I honestly think it was like the middle of the night for him because I at that point I didn't like care.
Didn't even
I
care about
didn't.
time to be. No, I
Yeah,
imagine.
because I was like,
The least thing on your mind is time difference.
exactly, because I literally like bought. I was ready for the show. Like I had the tickets. My friends wanted to fly out from like California to my show, so everything was planned, and it was the beginning of April when I left. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, like you're traveling that deep into prep." And I was like, "I know, I can do it. Like I've been traveling on a strict meal plan before, so like, scale is straight in my backpack. Okay, the TSA is swiping the scale every time, but I don't care, okay?" So yeah, I did all of that. Like everything was smooth, body was reacting great. And then they were like, "Yeah, you can't come back." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" And I couldn't even get my stuff, right? So I had to get my friends to pack all my stuff. and send it to me.
Wow. Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
assuming you're coming back, so you just left it
Yeah,
there.
I just left it my little
Wow.
carry on full of gym stuff and like
You expected
my
what, like
food.
a quick 2 3 day trip or something? I'm assuming, and then coming right back,
It was
or
I had a return flight like in 2 weeks, right? 10 days,
oh,
two
okay,
weeks. So literally in my backpack was just gym stuff because I was like, well, I'm gonna like borrow my mom's clothes. I don't really care. And like my supplements. Because I was like, well, I'm gonna cook everything home, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So yeah, but the plans were different. And then I was like, what are we gonna do? Because I still wanna be on stage. I don't wanna throw these 3 months out the window. Like I put the hard work into it, and I wanna, let people see it.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, but in my country, like bodybuilding is a thing, but not as much as, having the shows every weekend. So I had to look up the nearest show, and the nearest one in Czech Republic was November. And I was like, yeah,
oh
that's
snap,
that's a whole
that's way too
that's a
far.
whole that's a whole year on prep. So yeah, I ended up competing in the UK, in England, and yeah, it was the end of August, so 8 months of prep.
Wow, yeah, because then from April to what you initially expected, I think you mentioned June, right? Like
Yes.
so it's like you were like 2 months away, and then to have
Hmm.
that, no, wow, that's insane. That's actually a crazy story.
So
And to the
literally,
audience,
I
this is
was
actually my
like,
first time hearing this. Wow, go
yeah,
ahead.
it was literally like I was so happy, like I was like 6 weeks out, like let's do it. And then from 6 weeks, it was like another 20. It was like okay, cool. But that part was the craziest because my gym in my town wasn't really like bodybuilding so good. So I had to make it work. And I mean, I still did it, but when you are like used to these machines because they work the best for you, and now you don't have them. And I was like, I do have my pendulum squat, and I still don't have it.
Oh.
I hate it.
Oh man, I've been wanting to try a pendulum squat so
It's so
badly.
good.
I know.
So
I
good.
feel like that one will overtake barbell squats for me, and then hack squats
Definitely.
second favorite.
I don't barbell squat. So yeah. Now I
There
have
you go.
a good old high squat.
I saw that. I saw, hey, it's better than barbell then. Yeah,
Definitely.
there you go. No, but wow, that's a super crazy story, Veronica. Truly, actually, and I think that just there's so many things one can extract from it. Like as we mentioned earlier on, like I think before we started the podcast, how life ebbs and flows, and it's just you go through life, and you have certain things, but then you have unexpected turns,
Hmm.
right? And having that, like in a sense, that completely closed, that opportunity, let's say that door that you expected was going to remain open, and just have it like shut in your face, and then completely change all your
Hmm.
plans. But I think it also, and you could talk to me, I think though it shows your own, as you mentioned earlier, that tenacity, like you mentioned, like not quitting and continuing that. Despite that it was hard, you took that circumstance and in a sense turned it for your own good, in a sense, right? I'm sure it
Exactly.
wasn't easy or anything, but then I would assume, and you tell me that you probably both mentally, physically for sure, and everything, probably you're stronger because of that experience, because you had to like figure out something new gym, adjust to the new equipment. In other words, to everyone listening, to all the gym rats listening, there's no excuse to what gym you go to. Of course, we all love certain type of machines. There's no,
You
but
you
you
can do it
work
with
with
a
what you have.
dumbbell.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you get me exactly. You work with what you have, and there you go. And you still did your competition. And how was that whole experience when you were like there on stage and the whole bronze situation, tanning? I'm sorry, and everything. Like, how was all that stuff?
It was it was just amazing. Like I literally look out for that day till the day I die. But it was also sad because like all of my friends that you know, were there since the prep started, couldn't be there. So, I mean, they were still with me, but not physically. So, from like the crowd that would be there with me, it was just my mom and my best friend, which love them, and I'm so grateful that they still went with me because I didn't really think they will, because like work, whatever, they had to take vacation days and stuff, the flights and stuff like that as well. But it was so good. I was also like the youngest in my classes. All of them, I did three. So yeah, it was crazy. And one learning lesson, if you are thinking about it, do it. And also, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. Literally, whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. And I feel like my prep is literally the great example.
100%. No, because what I wanted to ask you was like at that moment, let's say that point that you're like, no, your visa is not, renewed, etc. Okay, of course, that emotion, crying, you call your coach, etc. At that point, I'm guessing you tell me there's probably thoughts like, like F this, screw this, I'm not gonna continue. Like, what what got you to the point where you're like, no, I'm going to continue this, I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to make this happen? What led you to that point? Because many people would stop right there and like, all right, whatever. But you didn't. And so what led you to that?
Honestly, I will always feel like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Like, I did everything, I was ready, etc. But then you can't always have the victim mindset because that's gonna lead you to what? To nothing. So it's more like, this is not happening to me, but it's happening for me, right? So maybe there was something that wasn't meant to happen. I wasn't meant to be in the US because guess what? Literally, I think in a month, Tampa Bay was hit by the hurricanes, right? And I was like, oh shit, like it literally hit my neighborhood. And I was like,
Oh,
see, maybe that's why. Or like, like there's always a reason why this is happening. You can't just give up. Just don't give up and go and get the stuff done that you want to get done.
yeah, yeah, like we say here, godgymgrind, and that grind aspect, like whatever life throws at you, grind it out, and you're literally the definition
Literally.
of that. And one quote that I like to say, and I say it a lot, but it's like, and I've almost said it in every single podcast episode, where the audience might think, oh, he's planning this, and it's not. It just comes naturally in every conversation, like you just said. And it's a quote from Steve Jobs that, like to this day, just really hit me, where it's like, you can't connect the dots looking forward, you could only connect the dots looking back. In other words, like things may happen
I
in
like
life that you
that.
don't get at that point why it happened, but then you look back a year ago from now or 2 years from now, like, oh wow, that happened, which then led me
Because
to this, which then led
that's
me to this,
so
and now I'm here.
cool.
And if that, like, so you can't connect them looking forward, you can only connect them looking back. Like, oh wow. And it's so cool because your story is literally that, like you said, like it didn't make sense, but who knows, maybe the hurricane, you were saved from that, or I mean, you don't know, but it ultimately led you to where you are now. You still made it happen. You're stronger physically, mentally, emotionally because of that situation. So
Literally.
you couldn't connect the dots at that point, but now looking back, you're like, hey, you know what, it got me to where I'm at now. And I think that's beautiful.
That's so cool. I love that quote. I never heard
Yeah,
it
yeah.
before. What?
Yeah, I remember. I feel like I saw it once, like in like a meme. I think it was during actually when Steve Jobs had just recently passed away or something, and then I think it was like those social media, and I think
Mhm.
I saw it, or I don't remember, but wherever I saw it,
Stuck
it
with
has
you.
stuck to me with this day, and it like I look at my own, like, let's say, fitness journey and how what got me like into the gym, like seriously, like because I had been
Hmm.
going to the gym for years, but just kind of casually, kind of like just running on the treadmill, some little
Yeah.
lightweight, nothing close to failure, nothing about macros or nutrition, eating crap, like you said, just eating whatever I wanted to eat. And I'm like, why am I not getting muscle? Why am I not getting bigger? Like, this is not making sense, but never bothering to even learn about it. And then what eventually led me to get like super serious in the gym, learn about macros and building muscle and all that stuff. And then which eventually led me to the starting of this business, the clothing
I love
brand,
that.
which fast forward a year later, February will be like 1 year that G3X has officially
That's
started,
so
actually. So it's
cool.
like, so, and looking back now, like, oh wow, now, we're creating content, doing these podcasts, meeting amazing new people. Like, it wouldn't have made sense at that point you know, but yet here I am. And it's like, well, you know, like you said, God has a plan for each one of us. And it's like, it might not make sense at all, but just keep grinding through life. And like you said, don't quit, tenacity, keep going, and
It's
it'll
gonna
work
happen.
out. And like, you know, and when we say work out, which will again, your experience, my experience, you know, working out doesn't mean it's going to be always a good outcome, but it's just, if you continue, it'll be a good experience. I think there's a
Yeah.
difference, in my opinion, good outcome and good experience. And I think the
You
experience is
literally,
what's key. Because
one thing that a quote I was reminding myself during prep: fall in love with the journey, not just the wait, fall in love with the journey, not just the
Final
outcome.
destination, or something like that,
Yeah,
or something
yeah,
like that. Yeah, I
something
know,
like
I've heard
that.
it before. I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
And it's
the point
true.
of the story, fall in love with the journey, right?
Yep,
Not
yep.
just the final little point. Because that's
Then
literally
what?
what exactly. Like stepping on stage, beautiful, but it's just literally, honestly, that was one thing that shocked me the most. I was on the stage for probably 10 minutes max, 8 months for 10 minutes, 8 months. Yeah. So, like, if I would literally struggle during the journey for 10 minutes, what is that? Like, I would hate
Right.
every single part of the 8 months for 10 minutes to be happy. Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Just fall in love with the
No,
journey, guys.
it's true, yeah, and I think that same thing that applies in everything. You know, for me, I like to say within business too, especially like, you know, many people are in that hunt of, you know, making a lot of money or a lot of sales or making X
Mm-hmm.
amount for the year, and it's like, okay, but then what? And I, from in my old job, which is a great position, you know, I would see how, you know, great people, great co-workers and everything, but there was, okay, hey guys, so um we have a goal, a specific sales goal for the month. It's like, okay, we hit it, all right guys, like going for more. And I would see two sides of the spectrum, where some people just enjoyed the process of like, oh, it's a new challenge, let's go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw another crowd where they were more focused on like the final outcome, where
Yeah.
when they got it, they're like there wasn't a satisfaction, because, you know, like you said, it's ultimately the journey, right? The same thing with like fitness. So it was like super funny with my own fitness story, um in the sense of my fitness journey. What got me serious into the gym is like your typical heartbreak story, actually, which is super funny now thinking back at it. It's like super hilarious, actually. I'm like, holy crap,
Oh,
that's so
thank
funny.
you.
Like, yeah, like, yeah, thank you, like literally thank you, you know, that's so crazy, right? But it literally is a typical heartbreak story. And I'm like, okay, you know what, I remember that same day it happened. I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna cry about this. I'm not gonna be sad. I'm gonna literally go hit the gym, right? So I hit the gym, and then that kind of sparked my urge to know, you know what, I really want to get serious and train. I've always wanted to be bigger. I've always been like a very skinny like kid growing up, so there's always that want of like being bigger, but I just never got to it. And so that what kind of triggered me to like, you know what, I really want to learn about bulking. I really want to learn about, you know, gaining muscle, how it works. Started reading online. A friend of mine from college was a trainer. I hired him for 3 months, who put me on a program where it made a lot more sense. And then that process of like, you know, kind of like that, let's say, you know, we sometimes as guys, let's say, we probably tell ourselves like kind of like that revenge comeback, let's say, like, oh, you're gonna regret this, you know, type of stuff. But then it eventually led to like, you know what, I'm actually liking the changes I'm seeing in my own
Yeah.
body. This is so cool, this is actually fun. Where then from heartbreak just led to a personal satisfaction, which eventually led to a like my like lifestyle. Like gym became part of my lifestyle. I started posting like
Actually.
gym photos and picture. My friends were like, "Oh, you're what? Like you're a gym influencer now?" Like sometimes some of them would teach me. I'm like, "Hey man, it is what it is. That's my life. You could unfollow if you don't want to see it or
That's
whatever, you know."
exactly.
So that's my life now. And so then I continue. And then some people are like, "Hey man, I'm seeing your progress." I'm like, "Yeah man." And then which then of course, since I got super serious in the gym, led me, you know what, I would like to start my own like clothing brand. Because after that heartbreak, my own form of like telling myself, stay focused, stay locked in, grind. You know, with my old job, there was a lot of work that always had to be done where I used to work in, like a lot of calling clients and consultations. So I was like, hey, just grind, like grind it
Hmm.
out, call all the clients, do all the consultation, just grind, grind, grind. So then that's where the whole slogan that I was saying, like God, gym, grind. Like, you know what? God first. I'm not gonna like get into any like distractions or something. I'm just gonna like make sure God guides me in every decision. hit the gym, because at that point the gym was kind of like my outlet of like letting all that go versus having inside, and then grind, like just grind it out. And that's where the phrase God Gym Grind came. That's like, that was my own form of like, hey, stay focused, stay locked in. I would just tell myself, hey, God Gym
Love
Grind,
that.
which eventually led to this whole G3X fitness, G3 God Gym Grind. And here we are now, right? So it's like connecting the dots, looking back, you're like, wow, at that point, what felt like the end of the world, like there's
Yeah,
what, like,
literally.
probably how you felt when they said like no
Oh yeah.
visa, like the end of the world, like what now? Like I'm not gonna continue. I don't. And then look at us now, right? Like
Right?
our glow up, or however you want to say it, right?
Yeah,
And so much more we have ahead of us. But I think that's
that's
so cool,
crazy.
that we kept going. We kept going.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Don't give up. Literally, like whatever is meant for you to happen, it's gonna happen. How? I don't know. It's gonna be ups and downs because that's life. But
Yep.
yep, it's gonna
You keep
happen.
going. Yeah. Yeah, it's so
Exactly.
true. Now, let me ask you a little bit about your fitness then. So, what are some of your, let's say to the people, like some of your favorite days of exercise, some of your favorite routines? Talk to us about that.
So my favorite day, I love like all my training days, right? Because like, why would I be doing it if I don't enjoy it? But my preference are my quads. So like quad focus leg day, and then I love shoulder. Like a push day.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Let's
I would say
go.
those are my favorite ones. And my routine right now is I have like 3 days of cardio. And just because I do work in hospitality, so my steps are really, really high. Like literally
Oh, snap.
every check-ins, my coach is like, "Yeah, your steps are extremely high," but I'm like, I can't be just, like, "Hey,
What
yes,
do you want
you
me to
know that."
float? I'm gonna like float.
you know, there was also time in my prep where I was still working in hospitality, and I literally had to tell my boss that I can do like a normal waitress, but I was like back barista or bartending, whatever, just to save my steps. But luckily, my boss was like also in the gym, so she like
Oh, you
understood.
like understood. That's awesome.
But like my steps are extremely high, so I do have just 20 minutes of low intensity cardio. Some weeks I do have high intensity, but which means spurts, and she hates running. That's one thing about me. I don't like. I'm gonna be on the Stairmaster 40 minutes, easy peasy. Run for 10 minutes, nah.
That's awesome. That's so.
so,
What speed do you normally put the stairmaster? I'm always curious on people's their speed or
so
preferences.
I watch my heart rate because gotta be in like some range, but usually it's like 7, easy.
Nice,
That's
nice.
like it's like a good way of dying. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you're so
facts,
enjoying
facts. Yeah, it
the
feels like,
process.
oh yeah, this is easy, but then 10, 15 minutes in, you're like, holy crap, I'm dying here.
Yeah, yeah, literally, literally.
So cool. No, and then so let me ask you. So you said quad and shoulder. Then let's say if you only could pick one exercise for quads, one exercise for shoulder, then what would that be?
Oh my God. Okay, for quads, I think I
I
would
have
go
my guesses. Let's see
Bulgarians.
if I'm okay. I
I
was
would go
totally wrong there.
Bulgarians.
Okay,
Really?
okay.
What was
Yeah,
your
I
guess?
was, I was, I was just gonna guess either pendulum because you mentioned that, or like I was maybe thinking like hack. I don't know why. I was just kind of thinking pendulum or hack.
Yeah, I mean, I like squats, but the past few months my knees have been acting up, okay? I guess I'm getting
That's
old.
fair.
So, yeah, but Bulgarian split squats are my favorite too. It's hard. It was harder for me to like really feel the quads, and because you can do Bulgarians for like your glutes and your quads.
Right. Mhm.
So it was a learning experience, but it's like a love and hate relationship, right? You hate
Yeah, yeah.
you hate the journey, but you like the outcome.
Fact.
um, yeah, and for shoulders, a good old shoulder press, I guess. Like I don't really see people are like, "Oh my God, what do you do? What do you do?" And I'm like, "I'm doing the basics." Like that's what it is.
Yeah, and they work.
Literally.
They work. They
Yeah,
work. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So yeah,
No, no, it's for sure.
shoulder
Yeah,
press
because like,
or lateral raises.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Cable or dumbbell?
dumbbell.
Dumbbell. Okay, you see, for
Dumbbell
me,
or the machine. I don't do them on cable. I don't know how to. If my shoulder hurts,
they.
body
I know
hurts.
what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. For somehow the cables just destroy you. You know, like you can't
Yeah,
even go
you gotta have
barely any heavy on them.
exactly. You gotta have also. Yeah, I feel ashamed every time. Like I want to do it. It's like 5 pounds on there. Why is it so heavy?
Like what happened? Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean. Yeah, yeah. No, for me, I would definitely say, let's say quads. I mean, it's a mix for me. I mean, I recently switched gyms now,
Mhm.
so I was going to LA Fitness, but then they literally opened a Planet like really like right behind my house. Not exactly behind my house, but like basically. So I
Yeah.
was like, that it's like a minute
Convenient.
versus like a 20 minute. So I was like,
Yeah.
and it's cheaper and it's like right there, 24 hours. I mean, like, you know what? I'm gonna switch,
Let's
even
go.
though.
Yep.
So I would love barbell squats. That was definitely my favorite for leg. Because my favorite, if you ask me, what's your favorite exercise? Definitely legs. I love legs, and quads, then hamstrings would be like kind of like my preference. So definitely barbell. But since there's no barbell anymore, thankfully they've added a hack. So I would say like, okay, hack would probably be my like main one, and then probably like leg extension.
Hmm.
Bulgarians, say it's like a love hate. I barely do them, but I really have to work on my form, I would say, because I end up feeling it kind of like on my lower back, where my quad isn't even tired, my glute isn't even tired, but yet I'm kind of feeling a little bit on the lower back. I'm like, okay, there's something wrong that I'm doing clearly, but I'll figure it out. So then I'm like, you know what? I'll just do lunges instead on the Smith or
Yeah.
something, and it
Um.
works as well.
I do them on my like string glute days because I do lunges more focused on my glutes and then Bulgarians more quad focused. But what helped me with the Bulgarians because my balance, yeah, it's not existing. So
Oh
I'm
shoot.
literally like I set it up with the Smith machine and a bench. So like I'm holding onto the bar, but like
Okay, okay,
just like slightly holding on to keep me like stable, and then I'm going down, you know what? Or like
okay.
when there's a hole or something, just to
So
be,
like, what are you saying? Like
just
you're
so you're
holding it
not
like
like
this, and
swinging.
like
Yeah,
kind of
so
like you're
like
holding it like this, and okay,
yeah, and then like in my other hand I have the dumbbell, and then just doing the
okay,
Bulgarian
okay.
split squat.
Nice. I'm gonna
Just so
try
you're
that. I'm
not
gonna try
like,
that actually.
yeah, it
Yeah.
helps with the balance because sometimes when you're doing the single leg, I don't know, RDLs or something, then your mind is more focused on the balance rather than the muscle mind. So, or like muscle mind muscle connection.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
got you.
so I was like, that sounded weird. Um, so yeah, every time just like literally hold on, like put your head there. Don't like grab it because then you're using your strength on that. But
Yeah,
yeah, literally just a little slight difference and it makes a big difference.
there you go. No, that's beautiful. I'm gonna definitely try that actually for sure. For sure, I'll keep you posted next time. On Friday would be
Yep.
my next leg day, so I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay,
And let's see,
okay.
what would be your least favorite one that you're like, no, if you had to pick like a least favorite of any exercise, any muscle group, or probably or none.
Honestly, I don't like the reverse lunges
Uh,
that I that I have to do because it takes so long. You gotta do one leg and then there's just one set and you have three and I'm like, no, can this go
your
over
one leg's already
quickly?
died, and you're like, oh, I need the other
Exactly.
leg. Oh my god.
Exactly. And then I'm like, okay, the momentum, right? So like I can't rush this, but I want to rush it because it hurts and I just want to get it over with. But yeah, I would say that's like I guess my least favorite. Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoyed
Yeah,
everything.
I think
If
it's
I don't
hard. Yeah, I
like it,
think it's harder to pick a least favorite than a
yeah,
favorite, right?
yeah. If I don't like it, I just we just come with a different exercise that is hitting the same muscle. But yeah. Because usually it's like, okay, this exercise literally hurts my lower back, like let's switch that. Or even just switching the machine, like I was doing for a long time, laying like curls. But then like, you know what? Like I still hinge my back weirdly and then my lower back hurts. So then I was like, okay, let's try seated curls. I love them. Like
There
literally
you go.
nothing hurts, you know what? And it's just a little change and it works better for you.
Yeah, no, that's so true because same thing with me. Sometimes you'll do a machine, you're like, hey, I'm not feeling it. And then it's okay, you skip it for 3 months because you're like, oh no, I don't like it. And then you're like, you know
Yeah.
what? Either there's nothing available except that one, or you're like, you know what? Let me give it a shot again. And you're like, holy crap, this feels
It's good.
amazing.
Yeah,
Why didn't it hit the first time? And it's like
literally.
the mystery. I don't know why, but yeah, that's how it happened to me before. Like for example, RDLs, I would like them a lot. Right, I still do. But then it was kind of like bothering my back initially when I was first starting. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Screw RDLs. I'm gonna do like only like let's say seated leg curls. I'm like, all right, this feels good. Then after a while, I'm like, okay, let me try RDLs again. And I guess, you get stronger, you get better with your form, you get definitely better with the muscle mind connection. I always hear
Hmm.
that a lot. And I'm like, doesn't make sense until like it made sense to
You
me.
do
Like,
it.
oh
Yeah.
crap, muscle mind, holy crap, this thing actually changes everything. Like now it's like, now you're really feeling the burn. Now
Yeah.
you're really feeling the stretch, etc. And then went back to RDLs. I'm like, holy crap, this feels absolutely amazing. So definitely, I think it's true what like Veronica's saying there, like make mix it up every so often, and that
Make
so
it
often
make it
could be up
work
to
for
you. But
you.
yeah,
Literally, make it
exactly.
work for you. Just because you see that on TikTok that this girl got this BBL looking glutes from hip thrust. Is that true? Not really. She might literally get the BBL.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, nowadays in social media, with some, we all know all those tricks that you can do with editing or this and that. You
Literally.
don't even know. Yep,
Yeah.
that is so true. Just
But
putting in the work.
exactly. Just grind and stick
Facts.
with it. Don't give up.
Now, let me tell you the following then. Let's say for the audience listening, say there's people getting started into their fitness journey and so forth. You, with your experience, bodybuilding, prepping, and your whole fitness journey in a sense. So, someone starting out their fitness journey, what would be some like pieces of advice that you can give them? Maybe they feel a little overwhelmed. Like you said, maybe they're scared of entering the gym. Maybe they're scared of asking someone or starting, or like you said, it feels too overwhelming. Macros, diet, supplements, failure training, reps and
There's
splits,
so
etc.
many things. There's
Yeah.
so many things. And I still get overwhelmed, okay? When like some new products comes in and I'm like, oh, like let me try it. And then you see all the companies. I'm like, oh no, like all the flavors. I'm like, okay, cool. But I would say biggest tip is just don't compare yourself because comparison is the biggest thief. And yeah, just you know what, do your research, find what's best for you. If the exercise that the girl on TikTok said doesn't work for you, your lower back hurts, find a different one. Literally try it all. Try it all and find what works best for you. Set your goal. If you don't want to follow a meal and be restricted, don't do that. Just do it for you. Literally, don't do it for anybody else because you won't be happy. Yeah,
Yep, no,
that's that
that's super true.
that's
I
that's
mean, and
what
I
it
think
is.
fitness is definitely, I think, one of those big industries where it's like the comparison aspect. And,
Yeah,
sad to say, and not to get into but sad to say, sometimes you don't really know, is like, are they really natty or not? There's always that thing,
literally,
are they actually natty or not? And so forth.
it's
So it's like,
so
yeah, never
easy.
compare yourself. It's literally, we've seen it a lot on social media where, we create a lot of content. We're always posting it. So we've seen it a lot, but like you versus you. And it's like,
Hmm.
for some people it's like, oh, that's so cliche, you versus you, everyone says that. I'm
Yeah,
like, I mean, if you
but it's true.
but if it is true, I mean, like, it's really you versus you. I mean, yeah, something's like, damn, that person looks really good, that guy is jacked, or that girl looks amazing, whatever. But then, like, you know what, they're on their fitness journey, I'm gonna focus on mine, and you could use them as an inspiration, like, hey, to
Hmm.
maybe inspire you to keep going, but never in a sense of like comparing, because like you said,
Yeah,
comparison is the thief of all joy. And then, you know you're not happy, and that's not
you're
good.
not. And one reminder, being lean is not healthy, right? You can't be lean for longer than like 3 months, especially as women. Your hormones, trust me, have some body fat on. You're gonna
Yeah.
look better and be better.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, because that's something I've always, like, I've seen, like, let's say with my sisters too, and like we're always like talking about it. If you want to elaborate a little bit, like, did you ever go through that? Where, like, and I know you mentioned you wanted to be super lean, so like, where did you come to that point in your fitness journey where like, oh, well, you know what, this could actually be dangerous for me, unhealthy for me, and how were you able to overcome that mentally? Because I know we've all seen it sometimes, oh, a little belly or anything, but hey, that's something like, that's normal, that's nothing
Yeah,
bad, and so forth.
bloating is natural, okay? Like if it's an extreme bloating after every meal, okay, there might be some like problem with your digestion or whatever, but normal bloating, like, girl, we have all the organs there. Like, they gotta be safe. So they gotta have some, some fat on there. And yeah, so I was, 8 months in prep. I was really, really lean. So then my hair started to fall out. Like, it was crazy. So after the prep, I was like, I don't want to, it was so scary to, see the body change, the face. It's the
Yeah.
face because you see that all the time. And like even my cousin, she was like, "Oh my God, your cheeks are coming back. Like you don't look like a skeleton anymore." And I was like, "Oh, I looked like a skeleton." And at that point, I didn't see it, right? Like a month after the show. But now I looked at the pictures. I'm like, "Who is that?" 'Cause
Wow.
I don't recognize her. But yeah, like girl, just do you and don't. Because even like when I started, I want to be as lean as possible. And definitely not knowing about the food, I thought that a banana is a good breakfast and will, keep me going for the next 6 hours after I have another meal. And then I got into the intermittent fasting. I'm not saying that nothing is wrong with that, right? But there's good ways to do it, especially do your research because I didn't. And then I was on the treadmill. There were many times that I passed out in the
Oh,
gym
wow.
just because I went on an empty stomach, and like m- my blood pressure isn't really like high. I'm on the lower end, like in a normal good day. So then it's easy for me to be just like out really
Oh
fast.
shoot.
So that's where I was like, okay, I'm doing something wrong. Like, let me, see what's up and educate myself on that. And that's what I did. And now, literally, food is a fuel, and don't be scared of that. Just choose the whole foods.
Yep, yep. No, that's so true. I love it. Food is a fuel. Yeah, it's so true. Because myself too, sometimes get not knowing about nutrition and learning
Mm-hmm.
more about it. I would remember days sometimes a little empty stomach or this and that is like whoa, like mid gym, like whoa. And then when you start learning, you're like, okay, get a little bit of some carbs in you or something to have some
Get the
energy
Rice
before a workout.
Krispies.
Yeah, right, or something. And you're like, oh wow, like, and you notice the differences. I'll notice days when I'm like didn't eat any breakfast and just
Yeah,
went straight to the gym empty, and then days that I have at least some kind of carbs, whatever it may be, oatmeal or a cereal or whatever, and you're like, okay, now this feels way, way better,
even
right?
even the pump afterwards is way better because the muscles are pumped because of the food because it's a
Facts.
fuel for it.
Yep, yep, yep. Or like in mid workout, you're like, damn, all of a sudden, I don't know if this ever happened to you. Like, you're good, you're starting off good, and then like mid workout is like from one set to the next, just like your energy just
Dumb.
is like gone. You're like,
Yep.
whoa, like what just happened? Like, I need I need
Especially
something because I'm done.
especially when you like get up and you're like, oh shoot, like what's going on now?
Yeah,
Like I
sometimes
still
my
have two
sister
more
and I,
exercises.
right? Yeah, no, yeah. Like sometimes my sister and I will have like I don't know if you heard of the brand like sour strips.
Hmm.
I don't know if you heard it. Yeah, so
Yeah.
sometimes like we'll have a little pack, especially for leg day, because we'll eat before leg day, make sure we have something
Hmm.
inside because we go ham with legs. And then it always happens like after like squats or like some heavy set of squats or something where like, just 4 sets of heavy squats or something can really like leave you exhausted.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Just get the
whoa,
blood
like
pressure up.
you yeah, like give me a little sour strip. I just take like one and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm like it's kinda
Back to
like a little
life.
booster. You're like, okay, back to like let's go hit it hard.
Literally. So
Yep.
true.
Now let me ask you here a few just little miscellaneous questions. Now, talking here with like dieting, it actually just
Hmm.
got me intrigued. With all your traveling, especially let's say now more now when you got more into the fitness space, let's say with your traveling, did you ever find it difficult? Let's say in your prep or let's say after prep, etc. Throughout your traveling, still being able to manage your like nutrition with fitness and different places, different kinds of food and so
Hmm.
forth. Like, how was that for you?
So I'm a creature of habit. So I don't mind eating the same food every day. I literally still eat the foods that I was eating in prep. I didn't get sick of them for these 8 months.
See, I'm the same. I could eat the same like forever and I'd be
Yeah.
golden.
And like Once you made the chicken in the oven, once you made it in the air fryer, it tastes different. You put a different seasoning on top. It's a different
Yeah,
chicken. It's a
exactly.
different meal.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, honestly, I always, so like when I'm on plane, people, I don't know where they got it from, but they thought that you can't bring food on plane, which you just cannot bring liquids. Other foods they don't care about. So don't be spending the crazy airport prices for shitty foods, please, guys. One thing to you gotta learn
Yo.
from this this podcast: don't do that. Save your money and stay healthy as well. So I would always. It depends on like the long way traveling that I had, but I would always have like a meal or two in my backpack. Chicken and rice, just something that I don't feel like it's gonna really smell on the plane because I don't want to get people uncomfortable. Like they already be watching me, okay? That like, okay, girl, like, why
Why
are
you
you
pulling that
bringing
out?
why are you bringing all of that? So yeah, once I went and my dumbass brought boiled eggs. Yeah, just imagine.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I got the looks, but it was all good. It was good though. So yeah, I would always like get that and like um if I would have space, I would have it in my little containers. If not, I would have it in Ziploc bags, which is really bodybuilder of me. and and literally in the Ziploc bag, and I travel everywhere with my scale. Literally, I was just telling that to my best friend. I'm like, this scale went everywhere with me. Like
Ride or die,
it
literally.
traveled the world, got me through prep. Like I'm using just this scale, nothing else. So yeah, I would always have a scale. Sometimes they would like take it with the on the controls and like swipe it, and I was like, it's just a
This
food
is good.
scale. I'm sorry, like I'm not here doing any other illegal stuff. I just weigh my food, okay? So yeah, there were times that I
Had the
was like
dog smelling it.
literally, I was like, oh, now people think that I'm like what, a dealer or
Some
whatever.
dealer. That's
And
too funny.
yeah, like there were times that I was literally like weighing my food in the airport bathroom. Like I literally took out the Ziploc bags and just weighing it out what I have to eat. So it's literally everything is possible. If you want to stay on track, it is. But yeah, like I would say balance with like traveling, and especially if you're not on prep, like enjoy the foods. Literally, a meal off your meal plan would not, you know, get your gains look bad or whatever. Like you're still gonna be good. Okay, the scale might go up a little bit, but what? It's gonna go down because you're gonna go back and stick with your normal routine anyways.
No, no, it's funny. I have a funny story. A friend of mine used to work in a supplement company, and so he
Hmm.
would travel with them, like different places. Some of their athletes, and so a lot of their athletes, of course, of the supplement company, like if they were like, of course, bodybuilders, and so for competing and so forth. So sometimes he would tell me stories. He would actually get annoyed because some of these bodybuilders were a little bit savage, where they just didn't care. And so he told me once a story of actually, I forgot. I don't know if it was tuna, sardine, or some seafood. It was seafood
Oh
that he
my
brought
god.
on the plane. He actually brought on the plane, opened it up, was eating, and did not
No.
care about what anyone else was
Yeah.
saying. And I think my friend was next to the bodybuilder, and my friend is like, "What the
Like
hell are
at
you
that point, it's
doing?"
like, oh, I don't know that person. I don't know that.
And he texted me later. He's like, "Bro, this is what I can't stand about bodybuilders. How the heck do you bring this into the plane and stink of the whole plane? Like, no." I was like, "Bro, that's insane." I'm like, "Nah,
That's
man." And he does that
crazy.
all the time. I guess that specific athlete would do it often. And he's like, "Bro, he just pisses me off." So when you
Yeah.
said the boiled egg, I'm like, "Well, at least, yeah, okay, but it's not as bad as seafood." Like,
Yeah.
you
Literally.
know?
But with that,
But
it's
no,
also like now with the supplements, you got me thinking you can also travel with your supplements. Yeah, you have the big
I wanted to, but I was so scared.
the packaging. The packaging is always so big, right? And like you don't need the whole packaging for the weekend trip. So I would put it in Ziploc bags, right? So imagine me with the little backpack. There is a scale and there's a He used to
You
fill
know,
bags with white powders.
white powder. Oh
Can I
my
get
god,
any
yes.
powder? No. And I would always like label it. And one time the TSA guy was like, "Oh, thank you for at least like labeling it for us." And I was like, "You're welcome."
For sure. That's too funny. I've seen on TikTok actually that the guy was like, they were like measuring or like testing his pre-workout, and he like recorded like, bro, TSA took my pre-workout. I'm like, bro, that's so
It
crazy.
was, they were
So
they were testing it as well for me. Well, it's embarrassing and it's like, okay, cool. Like do your thing, but I swear to God, it's just a creatine.
yeah, like I feel like I'll be tempted or like willing to try it if I was doing a domestic travel,
Hmm.
like from another state. But internationally, I was like, nope, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to risk it internationally. Like, I
Yeah.
travel a lot to like Dominican Republic or
Hmm.
Nicaragua since I have like friends and family there. So I
Yeah.
was like, I wouldn't want to try it there because I know like their TSA, they're like super complicated,
Yeah.
especially Nicaragua's one. So I'm like, I don't want to deal with that crap. I'll just buy one over there and just take it from there. Even though they don't taste the same, I bought one once over there. At least that brand that I bought, I'm like, ugh. It's
Yeah.
like the
Everything
protein
tastes
was like that kind of
different.
like powdery,
The
dry type
chalky,
of
yeah.
protein. Yeah, kind of chalky. Even if you mix it with so much milk or this, is like,
Yeah.
you know. Do you have a favorite like? Let's say supplement brand either for protein or creatine or pre-workout.
I love a ghost. I love ghost
Hey, let's go
energy.
Ghost Gang. What's up, what's up?
And
What
for
flavors?
like, oh my God. So I like the energy drink, the lime. I love
Cherry
me some
limeade.
sour. No, no, no. The whole, it's like yellow and green. It's
Okay,
lime
yeah.
citrus something.
Yeah, I've tried it. I know
It's
which one you're
sour.
referring to. I
It's
forgot the
so
name,
good.
but yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it has like a different name. It's just lime, I think. So
Gotcha.
that
Yeah.
and like Oreo, their protein powder, the Oreo or the what's the name? The peanut butter thing. You know the American crackers, the
hmm
peanut butter. It has a name now. The
The
red.
is it Ritz?
No, no, no.
Is it Ritz
The
or
the crackers with peanut butter. You have like the cracker, peanut butter cracker. Not a
I
butter.
know
Not a
I
butter. Not a butter.
okay, yeah, there is one brand
Maybe.
there because I know Ritz also is like a cracker that I think some of them
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
like peanut butter in there, but yeah,
Yeah,
Nutter
I
Butter
know
I've
that
heard of
too.
that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Ghost has still. I don't think it was a limited edition of their protein powder. That's good as well. I'm just a peanut butter girl. Like I love
You put it on
peanut butter on
everything.
everything. Yeah,
There
literally.
you go. I remember once I tried a Ghost one. It was the Cinnabon one, but it was like vegan. And
It was
actually,
so
for
good.
me, I surprised. I love cinnamon, but I don't know why. As much as I tried to mix it with like, it just felt super clumpy. Like as I was like
That's the
drinking, I'm like,
vegan.
like jerking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's usually what the vegan protein powder do, but they're like really good for baking. So like
Oh,
mixing it in the
okay.
foods. I don't know why
Uh,
though, because
that's
of the
smart.
way I suppose.
Yeah, because I've tried some like some other like vegan protein like way before. Like I didn't even know about protein. It was just a
Same.
supplement my mom would take. I'm like, oh, you take this protein. I'm starting to hit the gym. I'm gonna take this protein too.
I want the
you
muscles,
know,
give me the protein.
right. And then until later, I'm like, oh, I learned the difference between plant
Yeah,
protein, soy protein. You're like, oh, okay, interesting. But no, Veronica, it's been super awesome actually having you here. This has been
thank
super
you.
fun, super engaging, and definitely again, thank you so much for being on it. If you had, let's say, I always like asking this for every guest, one final words of encouragement, inspiration, motivation, anything that you want to leave the audience with, what would those final words be?
Always say it. I'll say it now as well. I said it before, and is that you can do anything you put your mind to. The end.
The end. No,
Peace
I love
out.
it. I love it. Peace out. No, I love it. And that would conclude, guys, our episode 7 of the G3X podcast. It was super fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Ultimately, Veronica, if the audience wanted to find you on social, what social media platforms are you on so they could give you a follow? I'll make sure to put that, guys, in the description if you're on YouTube. or even on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to it. The description of our social will be below. But where could they find you?
So everywhere on Instagram and TikTok, I am as d.perlova, Perlova. There's double A's at the end. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. So you guys heard it there. She's super awesome. She's active. I follow her. She's super active. She's supportive too. So, go support her too. Another gym gym girl in this gym community, fitness community that we're all trying to build and connect. So it was super awesome once again. And for us, if this is maybe your first time hearing about us, we're G3X Fitness. We're a fitness clothing brand that started February of 2024. So a year now, and our whole mindset, brand meaning is the whole God gym grind mentality. God first, hit the gym, whatever life throws at you, grind it out. So we have a lot of merch there too for both men and women, activewear, streetwear. So check us out, or even follow us on socials where we do a lot of these podcast episodes. We do a lot of content on social media for like lifestyle, motivational, gym content there too. So appreciate everyone there listening to this podcast, and we will see you on the next episode. Have a good one, guys. And
Bye, guys.